Hey everyone, we're at the Witcher Cemetery in Oklahoma City, kind of just driving by this cemetery. This sort of used to be an old community that was more towards where the turnpike and the interstate met, I-44 and I-35, I believe. There's still houses around here, but this is the old cemetery, so I thought we would go in here and have a look. Witcher Cemetery. This cemetery is maintained by volunteers. Go in here, take a look around. Some of these in here look like they could be pretty old. Looking at some of these over through there.
This one, he died whenever he was 1 year old.
1 year old?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think that one was never born.
1922 to 1923.
Infant twin daughter.
Not even a year old. Infant twin daughters, McCollum. And here's a veteran. So obviously they, especially this one right here, would have been upright, but has been placed laying down. It's like the Private in the Quartermaster Corps, December 5th, 1927, from Texas, I guess. Just take a look around here, see what we...
What is that?
Dirt dauber maybe. We have Father Lee Thompson, 1866 to 1930, and Mother, 1884 to 1973. This is interesting right here. It looks like this is what maybe, it's a pipe I know, but it looks like, is it placed there to put flowers in? This says P-O-A-C-E right on the corner here. And it's got kind of a border marker. Oh, that says Pogue, it's P-O-A-C-E is what I thought over there, but it's not. It's P-O-A-G-E. 1930 and 1948 is the date of passing there. Mother and daughter. This is interesting. DeWart is the last name. Minnie was 1879 to 1930. And then the daughter, Iola, was 1912 to 1929.
And then here's the father.
And then we have the father. He lived a little bit longer here. Born before the mother, 1875 to 1945. That's Irvin.
The first one he died was the daughter.
Yeah. Donald Keith Eaton, February 11th, 1963 to June 29th, 1999. It's interesting because there's kind of this homemade looking heart marker here. And then maybe they came back later and placed that one there, or maybe just the grandkids or something made that. Not sure. Not that old to see one kind of like this, but they've placed some little marble rocks in there. As I zoom in there, you can see it. Here we have George Washington Eaton, Private First Class in the United States Marine Corps, 1936 to 1998. The paper from the funeral home is still here in this funeral marker. And his flag right here is down. So we'll put that flag back up. Pretty interesting. It's not a real big cemetery. It has a lot of extra room in here, so I don't know. 1907 to 1992, Charlotte Clark. I don't know if there are more people that are interred in here that just have no markers, because this does appear to be an older cemetery. Maybe some of the descendants are still choosing to be buried in here. That's 1864 to 1945, McCollum. 1867 to 1945.
It's going to be her birthday in 20 days before she died 20 days after she was dead, after her birthday.
Well, yeah, this is just a baby, only lived for 20 days. December 5th, 1958 to December 25th, 1958. But still visited. Those flowers are not faded or anything, so 1945 to 2003, Neil Lois Kinnemer. So these are some newer ones mixed in here with some older ones. And then here's one from 2017. No marker yet. And we have several here that have no markers, but plenty of things of remembrance. Same thing right here. It's a 2016 and a 2017 here. And then we have a Louisa and Ernestus Robinson. It's a 1928 on Louisa on the left, and Ernestus is 1927 as the date of passing. And this looks like a newer one here.
It's the same.
Antonio Paulus, 1968 to 2017. It's a nice one. Got a little chef hat and a football up there. It says loving husband and father. This certainly looks older. Guy Farnsworth, 1889 to 1914. So makes you wonder if this person was actually born here in the Oklahoma Territory. Not very old though, 25 years old. Emma Moore and George Moore. We have Emma is 1858 to 1917, and George Moore is 1854 to 1926. And then at the bottom it says mother and father, gone but not forgotten. Interesting to see some of the growth that is on this marker. I always find that really beautiful.
Baby Brooks, infant daughter of...
No date on this. Baby Brooks, infant daughter of Jeremy and Luella. Now this is interesting. When I see ones that are this style, it makes me think of New Mexico.
It's a Mexican.
And it is a Hispanic final resting place. It's very nice.
Someone just
Nicasio Sanchez Espinosa, 1943 to 2016.
Someone was just visiting.
Very beautiful though. Got some rose bushes here, and this kind of looks like corn right here, or maybe some kind of maize. Got some solar powered lights. Absolutely beautiful. Definitely something that, like what you see in New Mexico, southern Texas, stuff like that. Oh, this one is really hard to read. Wayne, born January 1895, died January 13th, 1899. And then below we have Harry, 1899, and just lived about 7 months, died in 1899. It's very hard to read this because of all the growth that's on there. Pretty interesting. Someone's got a bird feeder up here next to this one. Might be the same family. John Spencer, 1859 to 1926. We have another Spencer here. Infant daughter, died on October 22nd, 1892. What about those, Ailey?
This one was 1 year old.
1 year old right here.
And this one was like 23.
23 years old. Well, not quite 23, 22, gonna be 23. Yeah, Nathan Earl Bailey. So this is the Bailey family right through here. 1 year old there, maybe, depending on the month.
This is Burgess.
Yeah, Burgess. Joseph passed away in 1918, and Dora passed away in 1949. Quite a few markers. Now the houses around this cemetery are pretty good size. This is one over here, and they actually have a pool over there I can see. So it's surrounded by nice houses that are well maintained. In fact, you can see the rooftop of some building over there. Colorful roof. Claude Parks, 1964, and Urza and Elizabeth Parks. We have 1910 and 1917. Now, Ailey, this would be an infant when you see the lambs on top like that. Yeah, Frederick M. Leonard. April 6, 1915 to November 28, 1917.
That's supposed to be marble, I think.
So, pretty nice marker there. It's held up really well. Still legible. It has that growth on there, but it's still legible and it's in good shape. Nothing's broken on it. So, this one is a little hard to read.
In 1895.
Yeah, so someone that's 6 years old, it's hard to read the month, maybe June of 1889 to October of 1895. Last name is Leonard. And then we have Abraham Hooper.
June 3rd, 1896.
1826 to 1896. What do we have here? Last name is pretty hard to read. Is it Nail? N-A-I-L-L? Not seeing a date of birth. Here we go, maybe on the side right here. Passed away in 1892. It's kind of hard to read. 1889, I think, is the date of birth. Also would have had something right up here on top. You can see the hole right there, and the top portion is gone. And these are possibly foot markers right here that one alien is looking at.
What are foot markers?
They go at the foot of the person as they're buried. So this might be the head marker and then the foot marker. They weren't very old. We have Brother Glenn Smart, 1904 to 1966. Alva Ecker passed away in 1931. And Sarah Ecker passed away in 1935. That was father and mother. So this is kind of a border right here that has possibly been broken right through here. It's just kind of empty. Maybe they've expanded it to include a few more other family members because the last name is Ecker on here. And I think that's exactly what they've done. I think these two pieces right here were probably right here, and then they wanted to be included in here. We have Mother Colleen Ecker Park, 1921 to 2007. And then here we have a seaman first class in the U.S. Coast Guard during World War II, 1917 to 1981, Merlin Ecker. Pretty neat to see. Clifford Ecker, 1906 to 1954. What's interesting is this same design on top. It's a candle with some flowers on top of what looks to be a Bible, is the same thing that Colleen has over here, but her marker looks much newer style and in better shape. Like this one's been out here longer, so maybe she had hers made in design of these, because they also, Father Harvey Ecker, 1950, and Elsie Lee Ecker have the exact same style with that candle, flowers, and Bible there. Botker, these are brothers. This one right here is just 7 years old, Denzel Lee, 1930 to 1937. And then we have possibly a stillborn William, July 11th, 1946. And this is the same last name here. Rebecca, 1871 to 1927, and John F., 1865 to 1933. So they must be the grandparents of these right over here. Now look at the size of these cedar trees. Usually when you see cedar trees in a cemetery, they're marking the corners of a burial location. This tree has been cut down, so I guess it died, and then they've done some trimming around here. And inside here we do have some corner markers that maybe been pushed out by the trees. It says a B right here, and then another one right there that's probably covered up. I don't see any headstone though. There is this from the funeral home, but it's obviously so long ago that the paper has deteriorated. But that is a large cedar tree right there. Very large. We have a Botker here, Lenita Botker. It's just a wooden cross. Oh, okay, I see dates. 1939 to 2011. And here we have a veteran here, Glenn Farrell, U.S. Army in Korea, 1932 to 1986. Flags down here. We'll put that back up. See if we can get that in the ground there. Pretty interesting. There's also a few little locations right over here. Don't think we can read this. Oh, we can. It's another Botger, 1938 to 2015. It's a little newer, but that piece of paper is starting to deteriorate in there in just a few short years, about 4 years. And we have a little tiny one right here. This is very sad to see it with a fence around it like that. Little bitty tiny one. Gone yet not forgotten. It does have a piece of paper in there, but it is completely blank that I can see unless I can put it in this video. Maybe mess with some of the lighting on that in the darkness and see if we can get a name, or maybe I can look it up and include it on the video. There's a lot of Botgers, if I'm saying that right. 1988 or 1888 to 1962, the father, William. And Pauline Sue, 1937 to 1953. Not too old there at all. Wow. Eva Thompson Botger Sigler, 1908 to 1999, forever in our hearts. I also see a couple stragglers, and there's all this other space that's in this cemetery that I don't know if there are other ones in here, and maybe there are no markers whatsoever. Notice these two things right here, and there's a flat one right next to it. Let's see, this is a government marker. J.P. Gilbert, U.S. Army, 1920 to 1993. It's in that time period where he could have been a World War II veteran for sure. Possibly even more, but it's not designating anything on there. Still a service member. Now these are a little bit newer, especially this one when you see them plastic like this, and you can kind of see where the ground still hasn't completely grown over. But there are no names designating those two spots. It does make you wonder if the last name is maybe Gilbert like this one. We have some more over this way. Like I said, it's a good sized cemetery. A lot of space in here, so there's no telling who's in between. This is Billy Tunnel Barons. And the way that's marked, it almost looks like this person may still be alive. February 19th, 1932. Looks like the date of birth. Linda Marie Sanchez, this is a nice marker. The horses kind of running through the Oklahoma hillside or pasture. 1960 to 2004. So 44 years old. And then we have a Cecilia McKee, 1912 to 2008. This is Lizzie, who's the daughter. DJL. And then it says Witcher. I don't know if last name was Witcher. Maybe that's who this little community town area was named after, is this family. But it looks like 1893 to 1895. So this may be the family that the cemetery is named after. And I'm going to guess yes, because as I'm moving over, this last name, children of R.M. and A.L. Jones, Fern and Pauline. Fern, February 3rd, 1913. That's like the date of birth, and there's no date of death on that side, but Pauline on the right. 1911 and 1912. It's a young one there. So this one actually, children, it's one that passed away on the day it was born, I guess. But here's a Witcher. This probably is where the community and town gets its namesake. Last name is Witcher, 1853 to 1905. August 16th, And then over here we have L.E. Witcher, 1851 to 1905, but this is August 15th and August 16th. So I don't know if something happened and, you know, they died of injuries, or if they passed away for some other reason. Be interesting to look that one up, but that's, I would bet that's where this area gets its namesake. We have Myrtle Witcher back here, 1879 to 1951. I think that's probably a foot marker there for right here. And one other one right here. Burgess is the last name. And we have a Department of the U.S. Army government marker there. So John S., 1914 to 1999. He's in that time frame where he could be a World War II veteran. It's not designating that, but he could be. And Jewel, 1915 to 2006. A couple little places over here. And it's hard to say if that's a spot. But here is a marker for somebody. And the writing is just about gone right there. Moisture's in there and the paper's starting to fade, at least the ink, from where it was handwritten in there. Age 51, I see 68 to something. John, don't know that last name. It's too hard to read in person. I'm trying to, comes up better on the camera than it does in person. It's interesting because the actual ink on the paper where it was printed is in good shape though. And then we have Travis Bobby Dwayne Hamilton, 1933 to 1935. Our baby, our darling, sleeps in heaven. It's pretty sad. It does have some different growth on it as well, but it's legible. Beautiful marker. I see one marker right over here hidden in the grass. That's a flat-lying one. Vernon Lushbow, July 7th, 1928. Has a little, I think maybe possibly a sparrow up there and a lamb here. Now, there's a foot marker right here. Nothing legible on it. But obviously there was another marker here. And it has the post there, but no marker is anywhere around it. Last name is Walter here, James Clifford. And August 22nd, 1912 to September 10th, 1912. Another child with a lamb on top. We have a Rachel S. Walter, 1840 to 1911, the mother. And these are some old markers here that have really deteriorated whatever they originally said, if anything at all. It's completely gone. Almost kind of look like maybe they're corner markers, because I see two over there and one right here. They're a little offset though, is the one thing that makes me think, well, maybe they're not corner markers, but it doesn't have another one here. If they are marking somebody, can't read them now, but this is a Walter, William T, 1938, and Fleta, 1929. So here we have probably several people. When you see markers like this would be one, and this would be one. Here's some more. And they probably didn't have money at the time, and that's what it was marked with, and maybe someone came in here later and marked it with these. Joseph Walter, 1898 to 1905, and Catherine Walter, 1903 to 1904. Those are just young children, and I would say those are probably just corner markers there. This is interesting. This is an old marker that you would get from the funeral home back when they made these extremely nice and they didn't ever go away. So you will see these used as a permanent marker or incorporated into cement like this so it'll last longer. But Raymond Walter, 1908 to 1953. This is interesting. Could be kind of sort of a homemade marker that they've made. and it's completely older and starting to deteriorate. It could have even had paint on the outside here, starting to crack and break apart, kind of like this one right here. Something is on the top. Guess it's just part of the design. Cannot read any names off of it or anything, nor this, even though it has the funeral home markers. It's not legible at all. We have a couple more kind of homemade markers right here. No names on them. It's kind of made out of cement and some gravel, looks like. This is a child. Harvey J. Combs, January 29th, 1899 to November 22nd, 1915. Gone to rest. There's a few markers in through here in between. Sam Adams. No dates or anything. Here's just a stone marker, no name or dates. Sam Adams again here. So maybe just kind of corner markers. This one's been damaged, probably on accident, mowing this as it gets overgrown or something. Infant son of Mr. and Mrs. Noel, December 29th to December 30th, 1907. Few stone markers right through here. No names or anything designating anybody. Here we have Thomas Jefferson Potts, 1830 to 1903, and Martha S. Potts, 1830 to 1892, and it says Oklahoma Pioneers on it. The amazing thing is they still have the original funeral home markers here, and that's what I'm talking about. 1903 and 1892, those things have really held up well within the times. Wish they still use those, really. That way the paper ones wouldn't deteriorate and no one would know who they are. So thanks for joining me on this short little cemetery tour. It's a fairly large cemetery. Not for sure how many people are in here or if there's even an accurate count on Find a Grave. But it's maintained by volunteers and I think they're doing a fantastic job. This is a pretty good little area to mow and take care of. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.